Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy, for nerds, by nerds, hang out with these nerds.
I'm Ted.
I'm Ryan.
And today we have a GM 911 from Darren Chow. He's playing in a criminals and crime lords game. And
CNC.
CNC, and he needs a little help with the game.
If you have a GM 911, you can submit that to nerdarchy@gmail.com. Just put GM 911 in the subject, or you can head over to our forum and put it under the GM 911 section there.
So it sounds like he did a really great job of organizing this game, like session 0, and like everybody's sort of mostly bought into like the trope of the game they're playing. Sounds like everybody's having a pretty good time.
But the problem is he gave the players a bunch of tools, skills, and whatever have you to
Accomplish specific goals.
specific goals, and the players are complaining that the NPCs are running away and being like cheesy 80 villains as opposed to
Fighting to the death,
which everyone clearly does every single time.
Yeah, so there's a couple things, and he wants to know how to fix this. How does he get his players to think a little bit more about the game they're playing and how the characters should react to the situations, because they're just basically bumbling through everything.
So, and also too, part of it is they have this little bit of this goldfish thing of like he'll tell them like you have these assets to use, like these tools like man catchers, smoke bombs, like different things to like be like smart about things, apprehend people that they want not get away, and
Actually
all these
use
kind of
battle
things.
tactics.
Yeah,
and
like
planning.
so all this kind of thing, and he told them like, hey, you have these assets, and every single time it keeps happening, and like, he has to remind them that they have these things to use.
So based on Darren's email, I would look at it and say it sounds like he's reminding them at the end of the session. I would say reminding them at the beginning of the session to kind of
that brings up a really good point, and how to remind them, right? If you do a session recap in the beginning, but really look to really good TV series and TV shows. If and I owe this one to bringing this one up to Barker. Be a better game master is if you watch, it's not done random, it's done very specific.
They show the moments they want people to have in mind for watching the episode.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. They bring up basically things that are going to be relevant to the game. So like Ted said, you could remind them by doing that like recap and remind them how the villains got away because they didn't use this or didn't use that.
So that's a really good method. You know what else is a great way to model what these things, how to use these things? Use them against your fucking players, okay? So your players, put them in a situation where they're in the disadvantage and they need to run away. They get caught by a man catcher or a net, grappling hook, whatever, or like the embolas or whatever. So have the players get caught and like in a situation where they're going to have to escape. But the most important part of this is they were caught by using having the things that they had at their disposal used against them, like other crooks might be using.
Yeah, that's actually one of the things that I was going to bring up.
Yeah.
Like,
I thought we'd probably go to the same.
Yeah,
we're related. Go figure.
Yeah. So I was glad when Ted brought it up, and we brought up his thing, and that inspired a different direction. But yeah, if you want your players to use tactics, teach them that tactics are good and use them against them.
Yeah.
And put a couple of those crooks with crossbows behind some crates, giving them 3/4 cover or half cover, with a couple of guys that are using some long spears in front to keep you at bay. Like you actually have to get past the guys in front that are standing on the crates that are creating a barrier you have to climb over. They're physically in your way. And in the meantime, these guys behind them are just taking pot shots at you from relative safety. So if you do things like that, or they set up an ambush and drop a net on them, or like you said, use the man catcher against them, or
the smoke bombs.
Yeah,
like have some like ninjas show up or something like that, smoke bomb, and then kick the crap out of them. Like like all of a sudden smoke bombs go off, and then like there's a guy next to you, and he sneak attacks you in the ribs. Like that. There you go. Like you just got a ninja just got to drop on you. He's like a higher level rogue, so then uses his bonus action like disengage, and he's already like withdrawing as things go on. So
yeah, I mean even monsters get goblins are great because they get that disengage as well. Yeah. So they're like mini rogues that you can come in, hit you, and leave. And by mixing up your adversaries and using their abilities in the most advantageous way, you could actually use weaker monsters and challenge your players. Yeah. And also at the same time, hopefully you're illustrating to them that you have these other options, or do interesting things that aren't on a character sheet, so that the players get the idea that they could do that. Or it sounds like with this group they'd be like, well, why'd you do that? We can't do that. Well, what do you mean you can't do that?
You have the same things.
You just haven't tried. And if you want to do it, do it. You can swing from a chandelier if you want.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like they could encounter a Sherlock Holmes character who, like, maybe if they're bumbling in the traps or whatever, like, who just, like, has a 10-foot pole, he goes, like, triggers the trap, it goes off, and it, like, like, the bolt goes into the wall next to him or something like that. So they see that, like, oh, we could think around the trap, like, maybe you don't even disarm it, you just set it off, but you set it off in a smart way. Like, that sort of thing.
Yeah, definitely. You having an NPC that could kind of, like...
mentor them a little bit, maybe?
Mentor them, and kind of, like, shows them up in a dismissive way as well.
Yeah,
especially
amateur. He could just calls them amateurs.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Basically, maybe he stops the character that's about to set off the trap.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and he's like, if you want to be missing your foot, you definitely should take another step.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess that gets into a tricky area where. You're kind of outshining the PCs with a little bit with the
just don't make them in your game all the time.
That's all. But if you're trying to coach your players to be better players and really give into the spirit of the game, or get in,
it's so funny that we did another video about that, but like this is the spirit of the game. Like if you're playing like a rogue character, rogues are pretty resourceful types of characters. Yeah.
And also too, like if they lean on that character as a crutch, you could really have fun with it. And like he does that for the traps, but the fight breaks down, he just leans against the wall.
Yeah, he's like, I don't really do the fight.
And then afterwards, he does like the play-by-play of how bad they were.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so he takes out like a nail clippers or whatever and starts like monitoring, like doing his cuticles or whatever while they're fighting. And he's like. And just blows off the dust and is like, well, I mean, you see, you could have ducked below his swing there, and then when he charged at you, you should have counter dodged and did a parry, and like so there's like this whole thing of the fight breakdown and the choreography.
Well, yeah, that or like if the players start complaining about the one that got away, and he uses that pole that he tripped the trap with to smack the bolos hanging at their waist, going, why'd you use those? They probably would have worked pretty well.
Yeah. So I think we've got some good options here. What do you guys think? Do you have any other suggestions for Darren to get these players back on track? Put your thoughts, comments down below while you're at it. Like, share, even subscribe.
And like these criminal underlords, you can patronize us in a good way over on Patreon.
You can also head over to nerdicky.com and find digital as well as merchandise like Nerdy Swag.
So until next time, stay nerdy.